How long have you known Franchon Crews-Dezurn? I have known her since I was about 15 years old. That is literally half of my life. When you really think about it, that is unbelievable. It feels crazy to say that out loud. She's been my voice of reason through so many fights over the years. We have supported each other, pushed each other, and now we are preparing to fight against one another. It is surreal. Sometimes I sit back and think, how did we get here? I clearly remember the first time we met. It was either at the Junior Olympics or the Silver Gloves tournament. People were already talking about her. They were telling her, you need to watch out for this young girl. She's coming up next. And she responded confidently, saying she was a grown woman and that I had never been hit by a grown woman before. I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, she's serious. Before I even met her, I'd already looked her up online. I had been dreaming about the Olympics since I was 13 years old, so I researched who was ranked number one in my weight class at 165 pounds. It was Franchon. For years leading up to the Olympic trials, she held that number one spot while I was ranked 7th. Eventually, we met in the ring during the trials. In our first fight at that tournament, I defeated her. It was a double elimination format, so you had to lose twice to be eliminated. I fought 4 or 5 days in a row against tough opponents, including Tika Hemingway and other strong competitors. I managed to win my bouts, including beating Tika Hemingway twice. There were many close fights throughout that tournament, but that is really where the rivalry between us began. The interesting part is that outside of those major tournaments, we were almost like teammates. We trained together. We helped each other prepare. I even helped her get ready for her fight against Savannah Marshall. I gave her honest advice. I told her not to underestimate Savannah's strength and size. People think it is only about punching power, but it is also about how she leans on her shots and applies pressure in the later rounds. I explained that the first few rounds can feel manageable, but as the fight goes on, the physical strength becomes a real factor. Franchon has always been naturally bigger than me, so she had to approach that fight in her own way. She performed well, and I still believe she deserves more credit than she gets. In my opinion, she is a stronger competitor than many people acknowledge. Over the years, we have fought each other in important tournaments, including our professional debuts. Now we are preparing to fight again, this time on the biggest stage, with undisputed status on the line. I am defending my championship, and she is coming to take it. That adds another level of intensity. People sometimes ask if there is tension between us. There is always respect. I am not someone who pretends or acts fake. I will always give her credit for who she is and what she has accomplished. But when you're about to step into the ring and fight in front of 18,000 people, you have to create a competitive edge. Even if there is friendship, you must mentally prepare yourself for battle. I do not fight my family members. I do not fight my sisters or my brother. With Franchon, we are not related by blood, but we have shared so much history that it almost feels like family. That is what makes this situation unique. There is deep respect, shared memories, and years of growth together. Yet when the bell rings, we must compete with everything we have. That is what makes this rivalry special. It is built on history, competition, respect, and the desire to represent women's boxing at the highest level. This fight has the potential to be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. At the same time, I am focused on continuing to build my legacy. There is a great deal at stake for both of us. When that much is on the table, you almost have to create a competitive edge. In some ways, that means developing a certain level of dislike, even if it is only for fight night. After the fight, I believe we will return to how we were before. In fact, I think we will respect each other even more once we step into the ring and put everything on the line. I am fully prepared to do that. She knows I am coming to win decisively. I am aiming to dominate and, if the opportunity presents itself, to secure a knockout. I expect that she has the same mindset. She would not be training this hard if she did not believe she could win. Over the past 10 years, I have improved in every area. I am stronger, smarter, and far more experienced. I'm not the same fighter I was before. At the same time, she likely believes that our previous fights and her experience have given her new tools to use against me. That is what competition is about. We will find out in the ring. This rivalry is fueled by competitive spirit, not hatred. I genuinely believe she is a great person and a skilled fighter. I respect her abilities. However, in order to compete at this level, especially when you are undefeated and sitting at the top, you naturally feel defensive of your position. When someone is coming for your titles, you are already mentally prepared to protect what is yours. For her, it may be different. She may feel the need to prove that she is not an easy opponent, that she is not someone people can overlook. She wants to show that she is tough, experienced, and technically skilled. The only true way to prove that is by winning. When I fight, I often dominate clearly, sometimes winning every round. I set a high standard in the ring. She does not want to be just another name on that list. She wants this fight to be competitive, intense, and memorable. My responsibility is to win, but I also understand how meaningful it would be to make a strong statement. I have many victories and multiple world titles, but adding another impressive performance to my record would strengthen my legacy even further. There are also other potential matchups ahead. Boxing is about timing and positioning. Every fight affects what opportunities come next. That is another reason this bout matters so much. At the press conference, there were some comments made that added tension. I found parts of it confusing, especially regarding statements made on social media. Sometimes people say things publicly to create excitement and draw attention. That is part of promoting a fight. I try not to let that type of talk affect me emotionally. I am beyond reacting impulsively to words. No one can provoke me into doing something out of character. I prefer to keep things respectful and professional. I do not believe in unnecessary physical confrontations outside the ring. However, if someone chooses to take things further, they must be prepared for the consequences. I believe in handling business where it belongs, inside the ring. At the end of the day, different perspectives create hype. A little tension can build excitement for the fans. Sometimes fighters have to motivate themselves in their own ways. I do not need to create drama or theatrics. I am confident in my preparation and in my ability. This fight is about legacy, pride, and proving who is truly the best. When the bell rings, all the words and build-up will fade away. Only skill, heart, and preparation will matter.